When I retire early this year, I will say goodbye to the income from my job, as well as my employer-sponsored health insurance. So, what's the plan then? In a way, I've been training for this moment for a long time by intentionally shrinking my paycheck. I haven't been reliant on my full paycheck for years now because I've been deferring most of it into my 401k and 457 accounts. But leaving my job and losing that income permanently is another thing entirely. In an ideal world, I would have enough cash flow, side income, that it would cover all my expenses and I'd never have to worry about investment returns or sequence of returns risk. But in reality, at some point, I will have to withdraw from my portfolio. Drawing down on the portfolio is very much a part of my plan. So, what will that look like? When I think of my retirement, I tend to think of it in 3 phases. The first phase is years 1 and 2. The second phase is the rest of early retirement. And then the third phase is traditional retirement at traditional retirement age. So let's take it from the top, years 1 and 2. In years 1 and 2, I don't plan to withdraw anything from my portfolios. I've stockpiled about 2 years of cash in a mix of high yield savings account, money market funds, and US Treasuries in the form of the SGOV ETF. This offers the ultimate in flexibility because I can just pull that money whenever I need it without regard to tax consequences. But in addition to this cash, I will also have some income coming in. I've got a little bit of YouTube income. I've got my spouse's income. Not sure what that will look like, but there may be some income there. I could sell things around the house. That's not sustainable forever, but could bring in a little extra for the first year or two. And also there will be interest from that cash. There will be dividends from my investments, and I will definitely spend all of that as I receive it. And then I will also do some Roth IRA conversions. More on that later. I've got multiple accounts to withdraw from, and when I withdraw from them, I'm going to be mindful of long-term capital gains rates with the goal of paying 0 federal income tax along the way. My investment buckets are as follows. I've got a taxable brokerage account. I've got a 457B, which even after I leave employment, I'm going to leave it with my employer because it has this unique advantage of me being able to withdraw from it early without penalty. I've got a 401k, which upon separation from employment, I plan to roll this entire 401k into my traditional IRA at Vanguard. I've got a Roth IRA. There's also my spouse's Roth IRA, and my spouse also has a traditional IRA. And last but not least, I've got a health savings account, which offers some very interesting tax advantages. The first thing I'm going to look at is the standard deduction for married couples filing jointly, which is $30,000 in 2025. This is tax-free space that should be taken full advantage of. So in years 1 and 2, I want to realize $30,000 of ordinary income to fill up this $30,000 of tax-free space. In this first 2 years of early retirement, this will consist of the 4 to 5 months of work that I did this year, my YouTube income, my spouse's income, any interest I'm earning on that cash, and then whatever room is left, I will fill with Roth IRA conversions. And once I do a Roth IRA conversion, convert it from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, it starts this clock. This 5-year seasoning period begins, and after 5 years, I can withdraw that conversion tax-free. Now that's all pretty straightforward, but there's another complication, and that is health insurance. So I plan to use the Affordable Care Act. I want to show a low enough income to maximize the ACA subsidy that's available to me, but not have so little income that I qualify for Medicaid. So in my estimation, I need to show around $38,000 of income. This would give me an ACA subsidy of $978, and it looks like I could get a silver plan for a little over $3,000 a year, or a bronze plan for only $140 for an entire year, which is the option that I will probably choose. So I'll have the $30,000 from miscellaneous income and the Roth IRA conversion, but I'll need to generate another $8,000 of income. And this is where I will generate long-term capital gains intentionally. And those long-term capital gains will be tax-free at the federal level. And here's why. For long-term capital gains for married filing jointly filers in 2025, the tax rates look like this. From $0 all the way up to $96,700 is taxed at 0% for long-term capital gains. So with this in mind, it's no problem at all for me to sell some of my shares in my taxable account, trigger long-term capital gains, which will be taxed at 0% at the federal level. Now, if I actually don't want or need to spend that income in years 1 or 2, which I'm hoping I won't need that, well, I can do what's called tax gain harvesting. This is a strategy where you sell investments at a gain when you're in a low tax bracket, allowing you to pay little or no tax on the profit. In my case, it will be 0%, and after selling, I can even turn around and buy the same investment again. This effectively resets the cost basis for those shares. Unlike tax loss harvesting, there's no wash sale rule, so I can repurchase the exact same investment, and this reduces my future taxable gains. So again, big picture, I'm going to try to generate $38,000 in taxable income for ACA purposes while paying $0 in federal income tax. So the key tax considerations here: the standard deduction of $30,000 in 2025 for married filing jointly, and 0% long-term capital gains bracket from $0 up to $96,700. The final result here, I'll meet the ACA income requirement with $38,000 of adjusted gross income, I'll pay $0 federal income tax, and I'll take advantage of both the standard deduction and the 0% long-term capital gains bracket. Now, if it turns out I need more income in these first couple of years, I could increase the long-term capital gains withdrawals all the way up to $96,700 and still pay 0% federal tax. And if I want less of a Roth conversion, I could adjust the mix, whatever mix I want, as long as the total AGI is at least $38,000 for ACA purposes. So those are the first 2 years, but after year 1, and certainly after year 2, I'll probably need to replenish my cash bucket because I will have been spending that down to some extent. So after these first couple years, instead of Roth conversions, I plan to withdraw funds from 2 places. My 457B, which is ordinary income, and because it's still in the 457 account, I'll be able to pull money out of this account without any penalty, and I'll pull out enough to fill up the standard deduction bucket, which is $30,000 right now, but I expect that to increase over time. And the rest of the income that I need will come from my taxable account. Obviously, I can access this money whenever I want to, but it will trigger those long-term capital gains. So again, I'll be mindful of the tax bracket so that I pay 0 in federal income tax, and also mindful of the impact on ACA subsidies. Of course, after 2025, the ACA and the available subsidies could change. This is all kind of up in the air. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. And so after the first year or 2, I think I'll be relying more on the figure it out as I go strategy. As for a withdrawal strategy, in the first 5 years or so, I figure I'll pull less than 4% from the portfolio each year. But if things have gone well up to that point, I'll up it to 4% or even higher if I want to. This comes back to the whole figure it out as I go strategy, because I just don't believe that I'm going to set my 4% withdrawal rate and then adjust that for inflation each year in this completely robotic, mechanical way for decades to come. No, I'm going to be flexible and adjust my spending and adjust my withdrawal rate based on conditions and based on what's going on in my life. And it's important to note that I have flexibility built into my plan because I have a paid off house, I have a pension expected in 13 years, and I have places where I can cut expenses if needed. Also, my goal in retirement is not to spend as much as I possibly can every year. I've trained myself to live on less, to get by on less, to be happy on less, and I'll continue that lifestyle. It's not like once I retire, I'm going to turn into Spendy McSpenderson. And so the bulk of my early retirement strategy is a combination of 457 and taxable account, and spending any other income that comes my way, that my wife or I produce, interest, dividends, all that stuff gets spent first. Then it's the 457 in the taxable account, withdrawing in a way that minimizes taxes. Then it's a matter of backfilling my cash bucket from the 457 and taxable accounts in a way that minimizes taxes. But wait, there's more, because if needed, I can also access Roth contributions and conversions that I've made along the way. I can access my health savings account Any expenses where I've kept the receipts, I could pull that money out tax-free. The third phase of my retirement is when I reach traditional retirement age and have a more traditional retirement. When I reach the age of 59, I'll be able to start collecting my pension, which right now is 52.5% of my current highest average salary. So by the time I can take it, inflation will have whittled away some of its value, but it's still a nice safety net and a little extra income, a little gravy that I can look forward to down the line. And then at age 59 and a half, I can access the traditional IRA, I can access Roth earnings. At age 65, I can access the money in the HSA as a traditional IRA. My wife will start receiving Social Security in her 70s. When we reach age 73, we'll have required minimum distributions from what's left of our traditional IRAs. And at some point along this journey, we expect to receive some inheritance as well, although we can't really plan around that. So there are enough sources, padding, and levers to pull that I'm not worried about traditional retirement. If I can make it successfully through early retirement, that's the tricky part. And if I can make it through that, I think I'll be home free by then. And so if the market cooperates along the way, and if sequence of returns risk doesn't destroy my portfolio early on, I will retire early and live happily ever after. The worst case scenario that could happen with all of this is that I'll have to get a job again. That's it. But what about the much more likely scenario that it all works out? Investments could do better than expected, side income could increase, and I might find opportunities that haven't even occurred to me yet. In fact, I fully expect to work my ass off in early retirement, but not by doing a job. I'm going to work hard on work that I care about, whether that's creative work just for fun, side hustles, volunteer work, home improvement projects. I'm not the type of person that's just going to sit around. I know my plan is not bulletproof. There's plenty of uncertainty in my plan and in the world, but the odds are strongly in my favor. And I really feel like I have to give myself this gift of financial freedom and take this chance. That's what I've got for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, like, subscribe, and check out this video next for more of my thoughts on early retirement. Thanks for watching.